normal.
Oh,
Whatever normal means, you know, we normally speak to people and sell them solar systems for their homes or businesses. But being that you're a non-taxable entity, we it means you're not able to take advantage of the tax credits. And so we've come up with a plan where we can take the tax credits and put a proposal together like these to save the district money right away with no upfront costs of buying a solar system. And that's kind of the overall arching idea of the project. And we can get into the details of the two different proposals where I could go through, or I'm assuming you've all looked at it to some degree. And what I don't want to do is waste your time going over things you already know. So I'd be happy to answer questions. I don't know what format works best.
Okay, I'll pose the one that came out to me when I first read it here, John. Is basically you have an item listed as grid interruption resiliency.
Yes.
And you talk about integrating to a battery addition for future.
Yes.
My question basically is, if we put these solar panels in and we got 5 days of snow, what are we using? Are we using La Plata? Is the system integrated through La Plata Electric?
Yes. So this is something that's really important. You will have the exact same reliable system, power reliability as with our system as you will with La Plata Electric, because you will be connected to the grid still, just how you are. So for example, today, beautiful sunny day, we'd be making all of the power for your facility plus extra. And that extra would be going onto the grid and going up and down County Road 501, wherever it was being used. And then in the evening, if your pumps came on, just like in a snowstorm, you'd have no solar production tonight. You would be getting power back from the grid. And how these are connected is with what's called net metering. So you put a certain amount of power onto the grid, and then you pull a certain amount of power off the grid. So if the sun didn't come up for a week, you would not notice any disruption of service whatsoever. You'd be exactly where you are today. The portion about grid interruption resiliency, and we get a lot of calls about this, in the current fashion of what we're offering, you would have no change. You'd be just as reliable or unreliable as you currently are. But we've been working with lots of people who are wanting batteries. And in order to get the batteries and be able to charge them, you need to buy a solar system. But we're buying the solar system, so and installing, you know, and I don't want to get ahead of myself saying we are buying the solar system, but you know, what we're proposing is the solar system would already be on your property, so that your only costs for that resiliency would be the batteries versus batteries and solar, which is a huge expense.
Okay, can you add a variable to this if you don't mind for a second?
Yeah.
I'm sure you are aware that we do have generated backups.
Yes.
In the case if La Plata goes down, it is my understanding that the way we are structured, our generators will automatically kick in to keep those sensitive electrical connections going.
Yes.
So is it fair to assume that the integration that we're talking about would also, I don't know what the beeping is, but anyway, would also include integration through our backups?
Yes. Yes. So we wouldn't interrupt that in any way. So you would have backup just the same way you do with your generators.
Okay, so to summarize, I guess, this whole concept to me, basically I would end up saying, it says basically we would use the power off our grid, off the solar grid. And if anything happens, if that's unavailable to support it, then we automatically would use it off La Plata. And in the third case, we would basically run it off our generator.
Exactly.
Tony,
Yes,
the generator down here only runs the lift station. It doesn't run, you know, and it'll keep SCADA going, but it won't keep everything going.
so it only does the sensitive things, right?
Yep. It wouldn't. It doesn't do the PRSs or anything else or the pump stations. It just does right down here. So I would say don't consider it as a generator to run everything. It's just for our facility right here.
Right.
Yeah, I'm talking about what I would call basically sensitive equipment that has to continue to operate.
And
Okay, Jim, asking, one of the things is the solar one is for the, I'm looking where it is. Excuse me a second. They're talking about the ground for the maintenance shop and the lift station. Is that generated back up?
That generator is, like I said, it's only for the lift station and SCADA system.
Okay, so one of the items.
It won't run our wells or anything like that.
Okay, now, I think one of the items that John has on here is the maintenance shop and the 100.5 kW lift station.
Mhm.
So the lift station is actually one of the layers or one of the items.
right.
Okay, that answers my question about this resiliency and interruption. And that's all part included in your proposal, I would assume, John?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, anybody else? I know Carissa had some questions earlier. I saw it in the email. Carissa, you still out there?
Okay, I have two quick questions. Does it also include the power to the water tanks? Is that what you're calling a lift station? And in your spreadsheet, you had $30,000. Our price, our expenditures to LPEA is a lot more. I couldn't figure out what that $30,000 line was supposed to represent.
So you have several meters, but for the maintenance shop and the well and the lift station, from the data we got, you are paying about $30,000 a year. So that's not including the wastewater or anything like that. And so that's where we got that number. And
Okay.
we would be fixing that cost at just under 30,000. And, you know, at 29,000, basically $29,000 annually. And so you would be in, yeah.
So it's not going to include the wastewater facility?
Well, there's another proposal for the wastewater facility. And so we had two different proposals. And the reason we broke it into two is your cost of energy is really different on the wastewater treatment facility. It's a lot lower. So our ability to buy and own and maintain this project, we just have different financials. So we can offer you more savings on the lift station and the well and the maintenance shop due to your electric rate structure. And so we can save you more money than we can on the the wastewater treatment plant. And so we broke it down into two different deals.
Did we get a copy of that proposal?
Yes.
I thought it was in the
Okay.
package. Chris, I think it was in the package that we got sent.
Right.
I remember those two pieces in there.
Yeah.
Okay. And what happens with the snow on the panels?
So the with the south facing array and the tilt angle, so those panels are not flat, they're tipped up. And so the snow slides off the panels. It may not slide off in, every minute that it falls, but it falls off, when there's any appreciable sun to gain.
I got a good answer for that too. My neighbor across the street who has solar panels, who I think John knows, Win Unger, he's very good with his equipment that he's acquired, how to clear his panels up after the snow doesn't melt off right away.
Mhm.
So you put him in the contract as the assistance to clear the panels?
You know, these are steeper than most residential panels. So when we put them on the ground, when we put them on a roof, it's dictated by the angle of the roof. But when we put them on the ground, we can dictate that tilt angle. So we put them at an angle where the snow slides off more in a shorter period of time.
The diagrams that you had on where the panels would be, are they an or situation or are they an and situation? They be at each one of those places or different spots, or choosing a spot?
It would be each of those spots. So
Okay.
the wastewater treatment was a singular project. If you're looking at that drawing, it shows the ponds and then the solar next to it. And the well, because it's a little bit separate, that needs its own panels there. And so the one proposal that's got multiple that's got the maintenance shop, the well, and the lift station, the two bottom drawings make up what that proposal is.
John, how far off the ground are those panels? Are they close to the ground or?
So the panels themselves, the high point is about 9 feet off the ground.
How about the low point?
It's about 3.5 feet off the ground, so that there's room for the snow to slide off.
Understand.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Okay. I think there's enough here for us to basically look at Keith from a standpoint of managing the process. What is your thoughts on this thing, Keith?
Yeah, so I've worked with John Shaw over the last several years on a personal basis, and I currently have solar on our house out in Pagosa. So I am a huge advocate of solar install to replace the electrical. And essentially what it looks like to me is the dollars that we would be putting into the electricity paying LPEA would now go to the lease and paying John or Shaw Solar for the install of the solar panels and those types of things. So I don't know if it's a 1-for-1 trade-off right there. But long-term, I mean, I think it's something that we should definitely consider.
I think, let me add to the equation. I thought you brought it up. It's from an expense standpoint, budget standpoint, we'll be going to a flat amount rather than an increase, potential rate increase with La Plata, which I'm not so sure what there is going to go up or down or whatever. It makes no difference. But from us as the organization that basically has to supply these services, the fact that we have a flat expense line item, I think is a benefit. So with that being said, unless another board member has anything to add, I think it's prudent on our end to ask Keith to contact our attorney to deal with John Shaw and talk about the legal agreements, so a actual proposal to do this can be put forward, knowing what the legal ramifications may or may not be. I mean, that being an unknown.
Yeah, Tony, I do have one additional question. Unfortunately, I'm disadvantaged by not sitting in front of a computer to be able to look at that spreadsheet. I know I was a little confused when I looked at it. So would we be selling enough power back to the power company that would pay for what we have to use when we use power from LPEA? And so can we guarantee that there's a net decrease for us if we go with this option?
So how it would work is basically we would be producing the power instead of you buying it from LPA to the tune of, on that one proposal, $29,000 a year. And so how that works is you would in fact be saving that. You don't get a check from La Plata Electric. You basically wouldn't have a bill. Now, there is a base charge that is included on every bill, be it at your home or for the Metro District or for Carver's Restaurant. Everyone's got a interconnection charge, and that is one thing that doesn't go away unless you are living in a remote cabin off of the grid, but that's not what we're talking about here. So you would still have that base charge, and we haven't included that in any of this pricing because we're not offsetting it. We don't want to say we're saving you that money. You would still have that base charge, and every meter that you have, commercial meters have different base charges, so you can look through and see what that ongoing cost is, and that we wouldn't be offsetting that, but we would be saving you. You know, we don't have the crystal ball of exactly what energy rates are going to be doing and where they're going to go. So we take the last 20 years and we project them forward. And
so that $30,000 did not include that base charge then?
Correct. So your current bill would be more like $31,000, for example, and we'd now be lowering it to $29,000, and then but you would still have $1,000 to LPA or whatever your base charge was. So
if we had a bunch of snowy days and we actually had to purchase some power from LPEA, do we pay that bill separately, or is that included in the contract with you and you somehow pay that?
So you would pay it. And what we do is every 3 years, we do a true up. So we're talking a handful of, you may have some years where the system overproduces, and you may have some years where, so let's say the 2018, 2019 winter, that was a huge winter, and we had systems that produced about 2% under, but on average, we're about 105 to 108% of projected. So basically, any underage on your account, there may be, in the scheme of things, you know, small dollars, not hundreds of dollars, and certainly not thousands of dollars in any kind of true up. So for example, we have a system like this on the roof of Ska Brewing, where we just did a 3-year true up with them, and they would have ended up owing us $40. And we just said, let's not worry about it. We're in the, you know, we're in bed together on a bigger deal than that. So, but it would really be, you know, very small dollar amounts that we're talking about as we are making the power on the whole. Yeah, that's generally how we've handled it thus far.
So John, that rate, so if we have to buy electricity back through LPEA for those months that we're not really producing as much as we need to, so that price, I think according to the proposal, was fixed at 8 cents kilowatt hour, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And so when solar systems, you know, when we have our bad weather is typically in the winter. And so what LPA allows us to do is do our net metering starting in April. So assuming a system got installed today, it would be overproducing every single day right now, more than you're using, so that you would be building a kilowatt hour bank over the course of the high production months, getting into June, July, August, September, October, even through November. And so what you have is a kilowatt hour bank going into the winter. So we're expecting, if we size a solar system that makes all your power in January, when we have the shortest days and the worst weather, we would be installing way too much solar for an annual basis for you. So this solar system will produce significantly more than you use in the summer. And instead of settling up every month with La Plata Electric, they allow you to bank those kilowatt hours, even though you're not banking the power. The power is live energy that is going back onto the grid and going to the fire station up the street and across County Road 501 and starting to go up into the houses that are there. But the Metro District gets retail credit for that when that's happening. So that during the wintertime, when you're underproducing, you have this kind of pictured as a bank account of solar kilowatt hour credits that you apply towards your underproduction. And that's part of the plan, the solar on my house, the solar on my shop. And we've installed over 700 solar systems where we always underproduce in the winter and overproduce in the summer, because the goal is to make 100% of your power, not more than that.
John,
so
John, do you have other water facility stats you can show us?
We do.
Well, how much they've saved? Okay.
Yeah, so we've done Lake Durango water, and we've also done Cortez sanitation. And so Cortez sanitation is a very similar size project to your wastewater. And Lake Durango water is very similar size to the other project that we spec'd. Well, it's the same size as your well and maintenance shop. So you can see exactly, that we can show you that we're delivering the power to those. So you can see how that works and what the savings are, and that they're paying on their contract, their same pricing. And, I do want to clarify, these save you money right away, but it's a little bit. Where they save is long-term as energy rates rise over time. And, also give you fixed budget numbers for planning and budgeting and all of that. So the savings, if you looked at what the savings are in year one, it's something, but it's not, you wouldn't do it for just that savings in year one. It's the long-term savings opportunity that you have. So we can show you what we've done, and that we've delivered the power we're saying with organizations and scale very similar to what you have. But it's really where the huge savings kick in are after years 5 and going on, and then the savings get tremendous. And of course your risk is low because you're not buying something. So we take on some risk, right? We're buying all of, hundreds of thousands of dollars of equipment and installing it and maintaining it and having that. So you clearly know we're serious because we have a lot of skin in the game. And whereas it's clearly you have the land, which is also very valuable, and your time and the organization and the trust of your members. So I don't want to take that lightly, but we're building to deliver this, and if we don't deliver, it's our loss, not your financial loss.
So John, I just have a clarifying question, and I'll just first say that I'm very supportive of solar, just because the financial savings and just it's a bigger issue to me, and that's just using less power, which I think is always a plus. I guess my question is, a 30-year deal, why is Forest Lakes given the option to opt out after year 3 or year 5? What's the reason behind that?
So it's not opt out. It's an option to buy out.
Hmm.
And so if the district, and you can look on the spreadsheets that if the district, much like if we took an example of a mortgage on a house, a 30-year mortgage on a house, if it would cost X over 30 years, right? X per month or a total. And if you bought that outright after 6 years of your mortgage, your net out of pocket would be less than if you carried it out 30 years. And this goes the same way. And so why we have chosen year 6 and even put this in is the tax code is such that what allows us to be able to do it is we can buy the solar system, take the tax credits, but if we sell the system to you before year 6, we have to give back the tax credits. It's called recapture. So we need to own the system for a complete 5 years. And on day 1 of year 6, we're allowed to sell the system without any penalties. So should the district have the cash at that time or want to buy it, you have an option. The nice thing from the district standpoint is it's not a balloon payment you have to make, right? That's kind of hard to saddle a district with, hey, you're going to have to spend $500,000 in 5 years from now. So if you do spend that, you will save more money than if you go with a 30-year contract, but you don't have to do it. This way you can, we share some of the tax credit savings with you. It's actually cheaper for the district to go through this option and have us own it and you buy it over 6 years than if you just bought it today. So it's like better than free financing kind of. And it just allows you that option at that time.
I'm going to state it in a different way. After year 10, 11, 12, pick a year, we start having problems. Is there any way to say, no, we're not doing this? It hasn't worked out for us. We've got a 30-year contract. Is that what I'm hearing?
You got a 30-year contract, so
Yeah.
you're committed to the contract. Yes.
Okay.
It's just like it's just like when you lease a car. If you decide all of a sudden after 2 years you don't like the car, you have to pay the lender who was doing the financing here. You have to pay the lender out whatever investment they put into it plus costs for early termination. I see this
Except
no different.
they're doing the maintenance for 30 years.
Right.
Correct. So if a part breaks, we deal with it. If honestly, if a car flew off the road and drove through it, we're insured for it. So yeah, we are dealing with it and we keep it operational. And we have that true up where if, let's say a car drove through it and we didn't fix it, well then when we true up, we didn't deliver the power. So we owe you the money. So, we're saying, and the contract is aligned so that you will get your value out of it. And it will deliver the power that we're talking about. So we build these so that they're bankable. I wouldn't necessarily with different equipment if this was a irrigation pump or a well pump, I'm not familiar with that equipment, and so I don't know if I want to maintain a well pump or or the blowers for the wastewater, or the variable speed pump controllers and all of that. But the solar is extremely reliable. There's no moving parts in the system, and so we feel very comfortable to be able to offer a deal like that.
Okay. If there's no other comments, I'll go back to what I said earlier again. Just, Keith, I think we need to put Shaw, John in touch with attorneys and basically get the legal and put it into a resolution that the board can sit there and actually take a vote on. I think the legal bridge has to be covered before we do that, to make sure everybody has, and then people can take a look at what we've talked about. And if we dream up any other questions, I'm sure John would be more than willing to respond to us if we have something that comes up in the interim. Okay?
I absolutely would. I would also be willing to, you know, if we, you know, get to the point where it's something you're, you know, truly considering, you know, and the legal team seems like it would work out and everything, we could meet on site and walk through it. We could meet on site at another facility where you could see what we're talking about, the scale, all of that. So whatever's helpful for you, we're more than willing to do it, to give you an idea.
Okay, I think the one thing that was brought up by Carissa, if you could send us some information that you're allowed to do so from Lake Durango and Cortez to show how their process work, would also help us to draw the final conclusion with the resolution.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
John, is there anyone to also talk to at those different organizations as well? Can you provide us with that information?
Yeah, that's what I'd like to do is,
Okay.
you know, a contract between us and them is,
Right.
I'm fine for you to look at it, but I don't want, it's not, you know, that's a two-party deal. So what I would love to do is send you the, you know, the physical details. It's X amount of panels for a certain size, you know, bit of equipment, and then a contact phone number that you could contact them and ask them the questions, you know, how it's working out for them, how they enjoy it, you know, how we delivered and all of that, so that you could do that. And then if there's any supporting information from your questions with them that we can supply, we're more than happy to do it.
Okay. All right, Keith. I think we just threw the ball back in your court for a while.
Mhm.
So, John, thank you very much for the insight and the answer and your time. We appreciate it. And I
Well,
think there's enough interest here in all board members that it's something that we need to pursue and make sure we have all the good answers to go forward with.
Thanks, John.
Well, thank
Yeah,
you all
thanks.
very much. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Okay.
Okay. Have a great
All
day.
right. Thank you. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Okay, Keith, the ball is back in your court.
Hey, Tony, I don't know. I think Maggie just was able to get on.
Oh, she was on and off.
Yeah, so I think she's there now. Maggie, can you hear us? I think you're on mute, Maggie.
I think she's gone again.
I can see her up on my screen.
There she is. Let's see if we can unmute her. Nope.
Oh, Maggie. Okay. Because
Oh, maybe, because we've
'Cause
already
maybe-
been over this a little while ago, before John started. If Maggie, shake your head yes if you can hear us. She can hear us. Okay, the board basically talked about your issue. And the decision basically has come back and says, we are not in a position to offer anybody any variations to our current rate structure and any waivers to the fees that are disclosed. So could you please acknowledge that you heard what I said, Maggie? All right. Anyways, Maggie, you can probably read the summary and the board in the minutes. Or you can contact the office. I'm sure that the office can give you a summary of what was discussed and what was said. All right, Keith?
Okay.
All right, Keith, it's yours.
Okay. All right. So again, I have a few things I want to discuss with everyone. And as always, it's been a busy month, and it seems like the summers are definitely even more busy. So we've got a lot to cover. I'll try to get through this as quickly as possible. So the first item has to do with the tractor and the tractor rate combo. both of which are at the front entrance. So, and I'll just kind of read through this. So before I made the final decisions on it, I wanted to run it past the board for kind of a head nod. So pertaining to the tractor in the first photo, you can look at it and see that the tractor actually looks pretty cool, but the tires are pretty dilapidated. So what we're talking about doing is removing the rubber tires down to the steel wheels and securing that to the concrete. Jim also came up with an idea that maybe we can go ahead and put it up on jacks, you know, just to keep the steel off the concrete. So that may be another thing that we're looking at doing, but in any event, in either situation, we're talking about getting rid of the rubber tires on that. So the other part to that is we're talking about putting a sign in front of it showing the make and model, and another sign possibly giving the short history of why that tractor is even there. Now the second part of this has to do with the tractor that is over, it's on Alpine Forest Drive, leading to right next to the road that's going to lead up to the new office. So we're going to relocate that. Initially, we thought about maybe kind of getting rid of that, but again, there's history with the tractors, and there's a reason why we're there. So I provided the board, and it's in the board packet, which is on the website, with the kind of the renovation landscaping project that we're going to do with that tractor and the rake. We're also going to relocate that down to the O&M department on the road that's leading up to the O&M shop. So the whole thought behind that is the tractor and the rake kind of commemorates the hard work and sweat that the Walmers put into harvesting oat and hay years ago. And so placing it in front of O&M, it would commemorate the hard work and sweat that our O&M staff puts into maintaining the neighborhood. And I also provided a map showing where these are going to go, where the new one or the old tractor with the rake is going to go. And so the guys move so fast, and I just knew I'd get a head nod from everyone saying, yeah, it looks good. But I'll let you know that the tractor and the rake we're already starting the landscaping project down at O&M. I didn't think anyone would have any issues with it, but so that's what's happening.
Let me interrupt for just 1 second, please.
Sure.
Unrelated, I just noticed that there was a chat out there. Robin asked a question. I think she was talking about, I'm assuming, the proposal for the solar panels. And the basic question is, she asked that Forest Lake residents have to vote. And the answer to that question is no. We are not borrowing money. This is a lease. And at least we are not purchasing anything. So therefore, there is no requirement for a resident vote. Sorry.
Hey, Keith, just real quick too, because I brought this up on my very first board meetings. I'm a history teacher, or was, and so no one appreciates that more than I do. But I just heard residents say, you know, the tractor being there at the front. I love the idea of the tractor, the other tractor and the rake being O&M. I was wondering about just floating the idea of the tractor, which is currently sitting at the entrance right now, if that could be part of the landscaping or just the aesthetics of the new office building. Because people have talked about, you know, putting some sort of artwork or some kind of art, aesthetically pleasing structure right there at the beginning. You drive in. Again, I'm not trying to be like Edgemont, that kind of thing, but they have that nice metal art on both their entrances on I think it's the north side of 240. And I just thought something there that's you know, aesthetically pleasing might be nice for visitors, nice for people who live there. So I'm just kind of floating that out there.
Maybe the idea, will we have the yellow sign in front of the current tractor sitting up there? Maybe we could make that a sign that we can update and communicate messages to that everybody will see coming in and out of the subdivision. Something like that would be informative. Because I can tell you one thing that we've noticed since we put the firemen up there and that yellow sign about making people conscious of what's going on and the risk of fire in this subdivision, the burn pile has been very, very, very busy. So it is doing its job. People are looking at it, they're getting the message.
Yeah.
That was just
Yeah, I'm not against that. I just think that there's a nice concrete pad right there. So I know that there's always, Durango has programs where artists and residents can, swap out different kinds of art, whatever it is can be there just for people to enjoy as they drive in. Just an idea.
Yeah, I think there could be a great one to add to the recreation committee that I was talking about earlier. That has to do with enhancing the involvement in the community. Like I said, that used to be done by the POA when I first moved here, and that, like I said, that's all water under the bridge. So maybe we can do something to support those concepts and whatever activity that used to take place. They could.
I'm a fan of both of those. I love the idea, Tony, of having a board maybe in front of the new office that has a leaderboard or something where we can communicate messages to our residents. I think that's a fantastic idea.
Okay. We will add that to the list. All right, guys. I'm making headway. Let's make this place a little bit better.
Yeah. That's a goal.
All right. Sorry, Keith.
Oh, no worries. So next issue is a 2020 water quality report. And so as a public supplier of community water, CDPHE requires that Forest Lakes provide a water quality report known as a consumer confidence report to our customers. The CCR informs our customers what tests have been done, what levels of contaminants have been detected, and whether the levels detected violate any drinking water standards. So although many people only want to know that the water is safe, others want to know more about the water they drink. So fortunately, this is yet another year that we have great news to report. And we submitted our annual report to CDPHE on June 1st. And we posted a copy of it as we are required to do on our website. And it's under the services/water drop-down menu. And we have CCRs for the last 7 years to include this year's. And so we've posted it also in our admin office as you walk in the front door, and it's also at the mail stop. Next item has to do with the new office building. So Martin Hodder resubmitted the drawings to the county for the building permit since they required either a PE, professional engineer, or a registered architect stamp on them since this is a commercial building. And I sent an email out to the board to let them know today that we actually got an email from the county informing us that the planning department has approved their portion of the building permit. And then now it's back in the building permit department in order for them to complete their review. So my feeling is that we're just days away. And hopefully we can get this going because I know Martin Hodder is ready to go. So, and also in the interim, we coordinated with the bank to get the funds for the first draw, which is for mobilization, the building permit, and the deposit, so he can start ordering materials. Once we get the building permit, we'll spring load the check to him, given the lumber materials like trusses are taking 6 to 8 weeks to receive. And also our contractor cut down trees in the footprint of the new building, and we removed the remaining stumps. Folks may have noticed the banners that we have on Alpine Forest at the road that leads up to the admin office, showing, and the banner says future site of FLMD admin office. And it's pretty cool that they came free to us from Basin Printing. And so they may also know that we installed a culvert at the intersection of the Alpine Forest Drive and the access road. So we're just kind of waiting here in order for the county to get us our doggone building permit. So, so the youth soccer field. So we were contacted by a few residents about constructing a youth soccer field. And our plan is to do that at the field that is across Alpine Forest Drive, just south of the mail stop. And I actually have a photo of the field in the manager's report. And we're gearing this towards kind of like a U10 to a U11. So under 10, under 11, where the maximum yardage, and it's a little off in my manager's report. So it's 135 feet wide, and we're actually making it 200 feet long. So the district provide the chalk and chalking machine for the families to use and to take care of. Grass cutting, Grass cutting will be performed by our lawn maintenance care, lawn care maintenance team each year from April to October. So the goalposts, and I think Carissa said that she saw those up there. So we actually assembled those this past weekend. They're sitting there waiting for the field to get mowed. And the first mowing is going to happen this Friday. And I know O&M, we may have to have O&M come in and do some minor leveling on that field. So it's going to be for residents. Parking will not be up at the field. It's going to be down at the bus stop area. So that I think is going to be a pretty cool addition to the neighborhood.
Hey, Keith, just real quick, I want to just interject this now. Very common from where I'm from, again, South Dakota, where if they have to do some dirt work and grading on that area, very easy to put even just like a 6 to 8 inch berm around the soccer field. And then what happens, you know, in my hometown, the fire department would come and just fill that thing full of water about December, and it would freeze. Once it froze, it was frozen. And that takes care of the ice skating rink issue right there. So just another thought.
Yeah. Now, one thing to keep in mind, and I hear Derek, because as far as levelness, this isn't going to be a supremely level field just because of the terrain that it's in.
Sure.
So there will be a slight hill to that, just because we didn't want to put the money into doing those huge improvements, but we just wanted to give something that people could use and to make it and to keep it safe and to make it a kind of a safe field. But yeah, I hear you. We can definitely look at something like that.
Awesome.
So the tree cutting contract work for 2021, our contractor is just about done. He'll be back in a couple weeks for tree cutting and brush removal on the site just south of Pine Ridge Water Tank. And there are several trees along Pine Ridge Drive that need to be cut down. So as a reminder to the residents, when they see stacked wood that is in the right of way, freshly cut, and typically with a red ribbon around it, red and orange ribbon, that is wood that they can take. So next item has to do with the audit 2020. So yearly we are required to have a financial audit. So Jamie continues to coordinate with our auditor and to provide them with the financial information they require. So we expect that they're going to wrap this this audit for 2020, wrap that up by the end of this month. Cassell implementation, that's a new government accounting software that we're going to install here in the district and to replace our present dilapidated system. So again, Jamie continues to coordinate with the implementation team and to try and help the process go as smoothly as possible. So just want to remind folks that this process is, they have told us that it could take a year in order for all of this to be fully implemented. So we're thinking first part of 2021 is when we will have Cassell fully implemented, up and running, and hopefully a whole bunch of people trained. So the herbicide spraying of weeds. So annually we hire a professional vendor to spray the weeds in the district's common areas and the rights of way. During their last visit, they sprayed to bare ground many of our common areas, which included the emergency access road. We did receive a complaint from an individual, and our vendor is coordinated with the Department of Agriculture to provide an unbiased look at their and our processes and to determine whether any of the rules or regulations have been impacted. So our vendor has provided the Department of Ag with all the documents, including application records and correspondence between them and the district. The Department of Ag has asked us for maps delineating where the district's right-of-way is. So once the Department of Ag has completed their independent review, they will provide us with their recommendations and will correspond with the resident. So our vendor's next visit to apply herbicide is going to be the last month or last week of July-ish, first part of July. And we will ensure that the notification is on our website, and I'll brief it here in the manager's report, and that we will have the information on the website, or sorry, at the mail stop. So And we'll follow any of the recommendations that Department of Ag has for us and our vendor, just to make sure that we're doing everything properly. Ongoing road repairs. So as a reminder, the district has almost 26 miles of roads that we maintain. So O&M continues their ongoing repairs, including the application of road binder as we get it, and dust control product on the district's roads. We encourage residents to go to the updates on our website to see where the crews will be working. And if you choose, you can avoid those areas where the crews will be working. But we do have signs up letting folks know that road work is ahead. So we're also trying to keep them safe. So watch the website and watch out for the signs. So the next item is the rate study, meeting number 2. So we set up a special meeting / study session on 6/3 with the board and any residents that wanted to attend to continue our discussions about the rate study and to view the models now that the capital improvement program costs have been incorporated. So we posted this meeting on the district's website and at the mail stop. So our rate study is being completed through Rural Community Assistance Corps, or RCAC. We suspect that there will be a few follow-on meetings as we get closer to determining what our new rate structure should be to sustain our current operations and to address future CIP or capital improvement program needs.
Our comments are due back to you guys by the 15th, Chris. Remember that correctly?
Yeah, sooner the better, because the next meeting is the 15th. Yep.
Okay.
So that'll give Chris Brandewy a time to kind of incorporate it and look at those. So,
all right.
Yeah. So the small improvement district program for water and sewer mainline extensions along Snowbird Court. So this is the mainline extension that we're planning for summer of 2022. And the cost of the project is estimated at $95K. So we received written yeses from 5 residents, and 1 has even paid and completed a service agreement for their water tap to date. So again, $20,000 will need to come from the district's budget, and it will be included in the 2022 budget. So we plan to continue this program for the foreseeable future so we can fill in the gaps in infrastructure for the residents throughout Forest Lakes subdivision. So the next item is a small improvement district program for the mainline extensions that we're currently doing along Spruce Way and Pine Top Drive, which are on the west side of the subdivision. And this project is moving along extremely well. So kind of thanks to Jim's and Tyler's leadership and the hard work from the crew, namely, I guess Trevor Mose and Kyle Williams have been kind of in the middle of all of this and making it happen. So I'm told today that the water line is complete and has been energized. And Jim and I were talking earlier, there's no leaks, which is also a good thing. So now they have moved over to the sewer line and the manholes, starting down on Pine Top, and they'll work their way up north towards Spruce Way with the installation of the sewer line and the manholes. So we expect to have this project completed in the month of July. And I've also put photos in there showing the work that the guys have done. So the water tank repair projects, so the interior and exterior coating projects on the Pine Ridge and East Pine Top tanks is complete. They are complete. So we have shown interior photos as part of the manager's report before, but as part of the manager's report this month, we've got interior and exterior photos as well. And so we actually breathe, I think, a few years of life back into these tanks, making them safer and then more sustainable to last for many years. Next item is the community center concrete repair work. So I provided a request for quote documents to Neil's Excavation and Bloom Brothers Construction out of Bayacito, and that's to provide me with a cost estimate to repair and replace the concrete walkways. So I also contacted Snooks Concrete here in Bayfield to get a quote, but they haven't called me back yet. So the plan is to make necessary repairs to the handrails at the steps, remove all cracked and unsafe concrete on the east side of the building, and to only replace concrete for the walkways for handicap accessibility. Any other areas where concrete will not be replaced, small pebbles will be installed. So we also had to repair one of the sheet metal roof panels where a section of it became separated from the roof due to high winds. So as I start getting quotes in for those, for the work to replace the concrete, I'll definitely keep everyone up to speed on that. So lake simpatico muskrats and resulting bank erosion. So based upon the information we received from Director Hannigan about the large hole on the southwest corner of the lake, we visited the site and did see the hole, resulting bank erosion and a family of muskrats. So after researching the potential damage that these varmints can do to our lake's banks, I contacted the Department of Fish and Wildlife, and they have a federal trapper that we will hire for $20 an hour to help us manage this. I met with him on June 2nd, and he'll provide me with a copy of their standard contract for my review. So in the meantime, O&M filled the hole last week with 3-inch rocks and some smaller rocks on top of that to address the safety issue of the walk path.
Hey, Keith, I assume that live trap means live release then somewhere else, or what?
Well, we'll have to see what his plans are at this point. So I need to see what his contract is and go from there.
Okay.
So Lake Simpatico slip line project. So given the low level of water at this point, we tried to fit another project in this year to slip line the outflow pipe that is located towards the west side of the lake. Just can't fit it in this summer, so we'll be better postured to accommodate this project next summer. We also contacted our fish stocker to let them know that we will not be stocking the lake this year, since we will need to lower the lake for next year's project. Next item has to do with Unit 3 resident correspondence. So we spoke with Neil Starkey-Baum on May 27th and then summarized that conversation. I then summarized it in an email to the board. So long story short, so our service plan states that the district will provide public roads, legal access, sewer and water to Unit 3. That's the bottom line. So even if we amend the service plan to delete the requirement for the district to provide all of that, their revised land use plan effective September 20th states that they cannot issue building permits without those items in place. Pertaining to roads and legal access, allowing residents to upgrade their sections of the roads does not ensure legal access to the unit. As far as septic versus sewer, sewer could potentially be approved by San Juan Basin Public Health, and that could be an item whereby the resident could meet a condition by getting an engineer-approved system first. Hauling water is not allowed under the revised land use code that was approved in September. And plus the note that we received from Chief Evans from the county, where Chief Evans told Neil in an email that they do not endorse developing Unit 3 without water for firefighting or legal access to the unit for their trucks. Neil went further and stated that they have not issued any building permits within the county to residents since the new land use plan went into effect without legal access, water, or sewer. So also we did coordinate with Rick Johnson, and he did provide us the costs, his costs for the district to provide water, sewer, and road upgrades to Unit 3. And that figure was about $28 million. So from there, we're gonna probably most likely re-engage Jeff Craig, our attorney, to get a resolution to the board that they will need to approve, and a package that needs to go to the Board of County Commissioners to potentially amend the service plan. So there will be more information coming on that. And just the side note, I've got a meeting tomorrow. Well, let me back up. So what kind of prompted a lot of this was Candace Mann had hired an attorney in order to get concurrence from the district and then the county in order to build an off-grid home up in Unit 3. So Candace Mann has backed off with her attorney, and she's actually hired a company out of Durango, Southwest Land Consulting, in order to try to be a bridge between the county and the district in order to figure out a way in order for off-grid homes to be accommodated up in Unit 3. So I've got a meeting with them tomorrow at 1 o'clock. And I sent an email out to the board today asking if any board members wanted to attend that meeting with me. So if you're interested, it'll be right here in my office at 1 o'clock tomorrow. So number 18, we're getting to the bottom. So as you recall, the board created a new policy. Yes.
All right. Just one clarification. This is probably from my knowledge level than anything else. You used the term that Southwest Land Consulting is used to have people living off the grid, quote unquote. To me, off the grid basically means that they don't use any external source for water, sewer, or electricity.
Correct.
Is that, so how could they be involved when the county is not going to let anybody build off the grid, period?
Well, the information that I received from Neil about the change of their land use code, I forwarded that to them today. So they've got that information, but the Southwest Land Use still wants to meet with me to do their due diligence for their client, I guess. Okay,
so there is a conflict in intent here, if I could use a better term. What they intend to do versus what the county will let them do, right?
That is correct, Amy.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna see if I can harass you tomorrow at 1 o'clock.
Okay. Yeah. Come on by.
I'm curious to hear what their rationale is.
Yeah. Yeah. So 1 o'clock and probably just one board member, and then because they'll have 2 people coming, so we can fit 4 people in my office easily. So.
I can almost.
Yeah, and I'm sorry I won't be available. I'll be out of town.
Yeah.
Thanks,
I just want to get closure on this so we can kind of bring this to some kind of resolution, and I don't want the residents to be ignored up there. But I do want to try to find some happy resolution between the district and the county on going forward with something. So, but yeah, come on by, Tony.
Thank you.
Next item has to do with prepaid tap fees. So as you recall, the board created a new policy whereby we put a drop dead date of November 1st, 2022 to the prepaid tap fee situation. So we mailed these letters out to all residents on October 14th, 2020. With that policy came a list of criteria that the residents had to meet for the district to install a tap at the prepaid tap fee. So one resident recently challenged the new policy through their lawyer, whereby they contended that the district owned up to install these taps at the prepaid tap fee price infinitum. So we involved Jeff Craig, and he responded on behalf of the district, whereby he informed the resident's lawyer that due to a delinquency and lien, they do not qualify for the prepaid tap fee price. Additionally, he reiterated that it is unreasonable to request a district to install taps at the 1975 price when they originally paid the tap fee. So Jeff's letter was mailed out to the resident's attorney on May 14th, and we have not received a response as of yet. Next item is a wastewater treatment plant discharge permit. Nothing there. We haven't received anything from CDPHE. So the water conservation tips. So Director Hannigan asked me to go ahead and put this back in the manager's report as a reminder, because this summer is going to be is proving to be exceptionally dry in Southwest Colorado. So I've got some water conservation tips with some minor little things that people can do, which there's a huge impact in savings for the amount of water that is actually used. So, and it's named top five ways to save water in your home. So I won't bore you with those details, but I encourage you to go to the manager's report. And then the last two items have to do with items that we have already discussed.
Okay, Pete, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I had a
Jim, you still-
question. I had a question. I was having technical difficulties, and so I heard that you guys could not do anything, or doesn't sound like anyone even considered it, which is really hurtful to me. I don't think anybody, did you read the letter, board members?
It was discussed amongst the board members. This topic has come up in multiple times in the past, and the board is not in any position to start any waivers for anybody. We will stick to what is officially on our website and what the fee structure is. I mean, I had to go to the expense to annex mine to get rid of it because I had the same problem several number of years ago because I have 3 acres.
It was a lot less than what it is now, and there's no surveyors available anyway. I mean, what about, you know, compassionate attention to each resident's needs? I just got blown off, I felt like. You just went, well, we're not doing anything. And if that's the status, I'll have to join all those people that are taking legal action because I'm paying for nothing. I have a yard and I'm paying for nothing. And I can't even get anybody to survey it. Plus it'll cost me a ridiculous amount of money. I'm just,
Well, it was
I just
discussed.
didn't
There
feel
was,
that like you considered it seriously.
yes, it was considered. There's emails, there was communications amongst the different board members before this meeting to talk about this, or I shouldn't say no decision was made there. But the decision was made earlier in the board meeting that we are not going to grant your request.
Okay, I don't feel like you listened, and I don't feel like you care. The difference between a resident and a developer. You know, I can understand paying availability fees when you're going to develop. I have no plans to develop. I'm 60 years old. I'm going to be here at least 30 more years. And, you know, I have to keep paying you for absolutely nothing. Do you like spending money on something you see nothing for? Do you like paying for something for which you see nothing for? I'm not using any more resources. It's not costing Forest Lakes a thing. So no comment. Well, thanks for not even considering it.
Can I just
Yeah.
briefly stay here? Can you hear me?
Yes.
We are very compassionate. Other people have asked us. We did have emails back and forth and we discussed it. And you're asking us to do something.
Carissa, you're breaking up there.
She's cutting out. I can't hear her.
Well, Maggie, it is, like I says, you saying that we did not consider this thing, I think is probably a misnomer. It's not true. We did consider it. We did consider it. The problem is we do it for one, we gotta do it for everybody else. The other people that, you're not the only one out there that's doing the same thing. I mean, I can know one person has been doing this since 2002 and he's paying for 3 lots separately because he doesn't want to consolidate them. Well, that's his prerogative. And there's nothing we can do to prevent somebody from doing with their lots what they want to do. So
Yeah, I'm just kind of curious. I'm just kind of curious too, Maggie. It seems like when you go to closing and, you know, close on your property, whether it's a lot or a home, it seems like this information should be out there to you, you know, as far as what the fees will be to purchase a lot.
No.
Well, like I say that, then that's not in Forest Lakes. I feel like, I mean, I've bought a few houses in my life and I feel like all that stuff is given to me as far as all the costs you have to pay, the fees for this, the fees for that. So I think any one of us here, as far as board members, can certainly empathize and sympathize, because all of us, I know, have been in situations we've been caught in the same kind of conundrum. We're paying for something. You figure, what am I paying this for? But again, if we do it for one person, we do it for all, like as Tony said. I think that just creates a precedent that it's real hard for us to close Pandora's box. So it's not out of a lack of compassion. It's purely just
but a current resident buying land just to expand their yard is a little different than a new buyer or a developer. So, I mean, I was suggesting that you have current residents, if they buy more property for land, you could collect that if it's developed down the road. I don't know why it has to be this way. Just because it's always been this way doesn't mean it's correct or that it's fair. And especially now with the pandemic and the fact that inflation's out of hand and surveys are 60% higher than the national average here. I mean, that's just, it's not like I could, spend a couple of grand and do this. I can't. It's going to be a whole lot more than that. But I guess, if I don't know what else to say. I don't know why you do something just because that's the way it's always been done. You can change it and make it where current residents actually get some nice treatment because they've lived here for 5 years. And I told everyone in the letter, I'm mitigating the lot. I'm a very good, steward of the land and taxpayer. I just think I had no idea this was coming. And Mark Ciotti, who owned the land before us, title company, did not keep us informed in any way. Yes, I was surprised by it, but I said, okay, we'll get it consolidated. And then I can't get a surveyor and I can't get anything it's $8,000 basically. I mean, that is it's prohibitively expensive to consolidate now. It's so much more than it was even 2 years ago. But, I'm not getting any compassion for that either. The times have changed, folks. It's a little different than it used to be. But, I guess I'm just going to have to think about a lawyer, which I have a brother-in-law and a brother that are both lawyers. So it's all right. If that's what you're doing, that's what you're doing. My husband may sign up for your July 13th staff meeting, board meeting.
That's fine.
All
Okay.
right. Bye.
Moving forward. Excuse me, my folks. Hey, Jim, you're O&M. Jim? Yeah, I know Jim.
Yes, sir.
You're up, sir.
All right. There's not a lot on my report because we've been putting most of our time into just the roads and getting the 2 main line extensions all done. We did clear off the site for the office. We installed, Keith covered that we had the new culvert there. And we've just been doing staying on the roads the best we can. I've even had to pull them off a few times to help out on the main line, to haul gravel and stone up to it. We had to do some repairs on our leg truck. We sprung a leak. We came in the morning. Actually, we came in at 6:30 on a Wednesday because that's when they open up down here. One guy comes in, and between 6:30 and 7:30, they noticed the leak leaking out of the bottom of the tank. So we had to go spray it and then do some welding and and got it at least sealed up good enough for now. We repaired a water leak on Alpine Forest Drive. Somebody had repaired their line to the house. They had it repaired, and what they did was they unscrewed our fitting off of our water meter they did their repair, and when they put it back on, they didn't tighten it back up. So it wasn't anything that had to do with us. It was mostly the person that did the repair. But it's all taken care of. And basically, like I said, the main line extension and everything, all of our equipment is up and running, and we haven't had any incidents at all as far as anybody getting hurt. So we're doing pretty good.
Thank you very much. I hope Jamie's listening to us, because I know I sent her an email last week on the balance sheet that was in the packet. There was a certain amount of, I think maybe it's just a matter of changes, how things are done. I'm not sure what it was, but anyway, I hope all the board members got the revised balance sheet showing that we do now have a CD on deposit with First Southwest Bank. And I think probably starting next month, I'm assuming that we'll probably see under our liabilities that we're going to have a credit line outstanding with First Southwest Bank, which I know will be used for construction of the office. So that will probably be a new entry on that balance sheet that we have not seen before, because we haven't had any loans outstanding. So we do now have that credit line, which is classified as a loan, which will probably be listed under current liability. So heads up when you see that change happen. And with that, I'll let Keith talk about the overall financials.
Okay, so the property tax distribution, we didn't get any funds from the county in property taxes this year, or sorry, this month. So right now we're at 63.4% of our expected distribution, which equates to 419,722 of our levied property tax total value of 661,946. So if we looked at this on a 12-month basis, we for this time of the year, we'd expect to be about 42% of having the income in. So we're at 63.4%. So I think we're a little ahead schedule. Doesn't mean we're spending any quicker. It just means that the county distributed their funds a little earlier this year. So water pumping, and this is between our 4 wells. So in May, we pumped about 4.6 million gallons of water, which is the water that goes out to the residents for usage, domestic use, and those types of things. So in April, we were about 4 million gallons. So between April and May, the difference is about 600,000 gallons. And then also I have a chart in there that shows where we compared over the last 3 years for this point in time. So we are a little higher than 2019 and a lot lower than in 2020 this time. So the next item has to do the 2021 budget income expense report. So in the general fund, you may have noticed that we have expenses currently 46% that are exceeding revenue at 45%. And the reason for that is we've had a couple contracts that that we actually started earlier this year and paid out earlier for those contracts this year. So as time goes on, as the year goes on, those numbers will be back to being normalized, where our expenses will not exceed our revenues. But overall, budget-wise, between our general fund, water and sewer fund, revenues are 45% budgeted and expenses are at 37%. And again, we like seeing that our expenses do not exceed our revenues, especially in an overall basis. And that's that.
Thank you very much, Keith.
You're welcome.
I do not believe we have any unfinished business. And under new business, item 9C, without going into a lot of conversations, I would love to go back to in-person meetings because I don't like these Zoom calls. We can look somebody in the eye and talk face to face. So is there any board member that think we should not pursue in-person meetings?
I'm fine with it. Yeah.
So am I.
I'm also going to push for evening meetings too, just so you know. I'm looking at just empirical data of for afternoon meetings, and we're just not getting enough people here. So this is a working class neighborhood. We should have nighttime meetings. Just talk about it.
Yeah, my flight is. I second that. I would love to have evening meetings. Daytime meetings are tough for me.
Okay, so I don't think we need do we need a resolution for that, or just basically a vote of all the board members that we want to go back to online, excuse me, in-person meetings, Keith?
No, we don't, because to change from the night meeting to the day meeting, that
That's-
resolution had already been done. And then in that resolution, we also stated it, the meetings would be via Zoom or in person. So we covered both bases there.
Okay, so for information's sake, we're going to go back to in-person meetings, and you'll let us know and where.
It'll most likely be at the library.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah.
No resolutions on the agenda. So I know Mark does not have a sheet of paper in his hand to read this, so I think I'll take his place for a
No.
second.
Okay, but I just pulled it up on my phone so I can see the expenditures for the month. So I will make a motion to approve the expenditures May 1st through June 2nd in the amount of $129,000, $129,540.07.
I'll second that.
Mark seconds, all in favor? Derek, yes. Mark, of course, you put the resolution. Yes. Tony is yes.
Yes.
Carissa?
Mandy's yes.
Oh, Mandy's here.
Yep.
When did you sneak in?
Sorry, in the middle of the solar part. I'm out of town.
Okay, so rather than saying no to Mandy, it says got Mandy as a late arrival. Thank you. Didn't hear for the most important part of the meeting, Mandy. Number 12, a motion to adjourn.
I second.
Your second. Mandy seconds. I made the motion. Tony? Derek?
Aye.
Aye. Mark?
Aye.
Carissa? Aye, Carissa? Maybe I lost her. So we have 4 positives and 1 absentee, no problem. So I show the time to be at 3:04 p.m. That the meeting is adjourned, and we will actually get to see each other live next month.
Awesome.
Guys, thank you very much. And Keith, I do have one question, just kind of housekeeping item.
Sure.
I know that on the Maggie request, there's a closing statement on there. I can't put my fingers on it. Basically acknowledging that we considered it. We emphasize with the situation, all that, and did we send that to Maggie and her husband?
I'm sorry, Tony?
It was part of the board packet that talked about the request for waivers.
Okay, you're talking about the memo I put together?
Yeah, I believe so. There's a conclusion statement there at the end. That says, we emphasize the situation that Maggie, Austin, Clay Lauder are in, but our rules and regulations that are posted are explicit and truly clear.
No, I have not. Maggie and I have talked about it. I did not send that to her because I didn't want to speak for the board. That was primarily for the board. Would you mind just picking up that statement, that conclusion statement, and send it to her in addition to what the board discussed? Because I think we all feel that way, but she has a mindset of going one direction, which I can understand. Please? Certainly. Okay, guys. Thank you all very much. It's a nice day out there. And I don't have anybody
You're
else.
welcome.
Thank you all for joining us. Appreciate it. I'm on to my next meeting.
All right. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.